Okay, on the second part, we will move on to the front plane. This is basically the housing of the differential, the outside hollow housing that holds all these gears together, as well as the fluid or oil that's placed inside the differential. Anyway, we'll take a center line, and we will draw a center line in this way, and the same we will do with a center line moving above vertically, completely vertically this way, and from this top point we will move down, move slightly to the left, needs to be slightly below, um not completely 90 degrees. Move your cursor back so it starts to produce an arc, and do this slightly, move it downwards, and move it forwards and downwards. I know this is obviously not dimensions, but we will dimension this now. Firstly, this side should be, this is the height of the whole housing. This should be 62. In smart dimension selected, point here and here, this should be 48. Okay, then dimension this as 15. Dimension this and the angle between this and this. You'll just click on this and then click on this and you'll get an angle. So we will give it an angle of 95. Dimension this arc. We deselect the this dimensioning. Just go ahead and delete it, and we go click these 2 points and make sure it's vertical. Should be 10. It should be 22. Should be 10. This should be 11, and this should be 15. I think that distance was a bit too far off. I think we need to dimensions all look messed up, but this was supposed to be 15. Let me see if I can. Everything else is constrained. I just need this distance from here. I think I can. We will trim this and just give it a plain distance, smart dimension. So it's a distance between these two instead of distance of line. Still causing glitches in the. Let me delete this so it comes back to normal. I think the curve is the real problem. The curve is the sort of done in a non dimensions aren't given for this curve. But given the distance and the distance it drops and all that, it should be such that the distance between these two is 15, but everything else is correct in this case. So I've moved the curve up slightly like this by grabbing it. If it doesn't let you do this, there are these little green boxes. So the part that you're trying to move, simply just click on this green box and then press delete, and it'll delete that. So it's basically, this is a relationship that it needs to maintain, so it won't let you move like this, like I'm doing in this case scenario. um, or do this in this way or shape or form. Let me just see if now I can do the 15 that I needed without it causing any problems, and now give this the dimension of 20. Enter. Nope, still causing problems. Hmm. This distance needs to be um 10 millimeters, 22 millimeters basically. Can't move it in any other way. Otherwise, let's see what we can do about this. Okay, so I figured out how to go about this is basically use the smart dimension. Before I accidentally put the smart dimension from here to here, we don't need to dimension this. We need to dimension the tip of this to this. It needs to be 62. And now what I'm doing is from the tip of this to here, we need basically a curve that comes in from this to this. The curve isn't specified, but the distance from this point to that is specified. So that's what I'm doing. If you directly do it, it won't let you. So I will select first trim entity, move this, select this, and in under the trim entities, it said extend entity. We'll extend it, extend this. You don't even need to, might as well just go with this. Let me just connect it to this line here. There you go. And from there, we will basically have an arc that will connect it from this to this. There you go. Looks perfect, is curved, and the housing is coming in nicely. Just needed to make sure that this point when it comes up here, this point needs it to be, this curve needs to be 22 millimeters wrong, and that's exactly what we've done. It's slightly off, but it's not that big of a problem. We can manually adjust it, I think, but like I said, it's not that big of a problem. You can manually draw another line, and I think this is why the extend entities wasn't working. It's because the let me just try it one more time, see if it will allow me to extend this, extend entities, and yeah, that's why it wasn't working. We click on this and it'll extend it in the same slant and 95-degree angle to this line, and then from here we would just take 3-point arc and click here to here. And obviously the curve is a very sort of gradual, not too abrupt. You go to trim entities and remove this, and remove this as well. So now it's, this is the only part that now let's move on to the next part. Now we go to offset entities and start selecting this entire surface that we just made. Reverse the direction and give a value of 4.5. This is what it should look like. This should be moving along this as shown, and say okay, this is what we need, and then we will just take a line and connect this to this. Wait, didn't connect. Let me just control Z that. And connect this to this, and the same goes for this. Connect this to this. There you go. Close geometry. After closing the surface, we go to features and say revolve, boss base command, and the axis is going to be this one. So this is what it should look like, a cup. This is basically the housing, one part of the housing, the other side will be obviously over here, but you say, okay, this is what I want. This entire thing is revolved into this shape, slight curve and everything. Go to this surface and go to sketch. In this surface, we will draw a circle that is in line with this. So we will draw it with the help of this line, and then we will need two of these. So we will draw two. Use the smart dimension to give the first one 16. The second one is 6, and the distance of the center of the circle from this center is going to be 40. There you go. It's fully in place. Say, okay, this is what we need, and then extrude this circle by 10 millimeters and apply a draft of 3 degrees, slight draft of 3 degrees, and say, okay, what we need. There you go. It should look like this. Okay, we will need to modify this sketch that we just made ever so slightly. We need to make this 40.75, and obviously this part of this circle will move out, so we'll just click here and click on this edge, obviously, and say convert entities. Now there's a line going around this, so we will take a 3-point arc and place it from basically this point where these two are intersecting. Let me see if I can just do this. Yes, this is what we need. We just take trim entities and just cut this part of the circle away. And this is because if you saw in when we extruded, that part of the circle was coming out of the base. So now we have a full geometry. One more thing we need to do before we exit the sketch is go to trim entities and trim this outer edge. So this is the only line that's left, and now this circle. And now we go back to the extrude. So it should look something like, yes, should be a bit flat on this side and nothing is coming out from. Apply a fillet of 1.25, and let's select the surface that we need to apply the fillet to, which is this as well as this. I think it might not do it in once. First we do this outer rim, and then we apply another fillet, but now this side. Okay, this is done, and we go to pattern, circular pattern. In circular pattern, we select the edge or the path that the pattern is going to follow. Select any of these rings, and then in this drop down menu, select the fillets, two fillets, and this. So now you'll see a preview of the basically the feature that we're trying to do. Say 6 of these and say, okay, this is what we need. There you go.